Alrighty. Let's see if we get cleared up here. Alrighty, we should be back on. Uh, let's get out of this here. I'm gonna delete that video. And we should be on. Alrighty, everybody, can y'all see us okay? We're trying to get back up here. Let me see if I can get logged back in here. There we go. All right. Okay, everybody, y'all, we're back on now. Apparently, we still got some technical difficulties. Everybody, we're doing all right. We're live, sounding good. No more echoey, wavy stuff. It's Tim's fault.
My fault.
It's always Tim's fault.
I got an Android. I can't afford it.
I can't afford an Apple either. I wouldn't want one if I could.
I tried one time, sent it back.
Yeah, for some odd reason, whenever we get Tim up here, we've always got issues. I guess maybe the aliens are affecting it. They don't want you to talk. Who knows? All righty. We're good to go now. All right, let's get back in here. Again, this is another episode of The Hidden Agenda, August 12th, 2025. Our guest tonight is Alderman Tim Rhodes. He was up here a couple of weeks ago. We had a very long video last time. We're going to keep this one a lot shorter. I think we were somewhere bordering 2 hours, but we put out a lot of information. But there is a lot more information that we do want to go over with you. What we're trying to do is share screenshots and pictures and stuff with you. Unfortunately, that's not always the easy thing to do without the right equipment, and apparently we're having issues with the equipment itself. But I'm gonna touch base with you a little bit on things. One of the things I was gonna bring back up was getting information for the alderman. I was gonna share with you guys a video, and what I'll do is these videos are kind of long. Facebook, I don't know if it'll allow me to upload as opposed to a live stream, but what we've got is there's two videos. I believe these are from, I believe it would have been May. Let me get into the YouTube channel right quick. I believe it would have been back from May 9th. Am I correct on that there? I may be wrong. Let me see here. It's a Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting. This is where May 28th. Was 28th is when y'all had the first reading?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it could have been the 28th. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. I'm getting down here into the MoMA meetings. Yeah, May 28th sounds correct. May 27th is what I got marked down there. Okay, so May 27th, what happened was there was a meeting that night. This was the first reading of the budget. And in that meeting, Alderman Rhodes asked, there was discussion about, this is when the rates were going up with utilities. And the board was misled. So, Alderman Rhodes asked questions for probably the first 4 or 5 minutes of that meeting, and didn't get an answer. Later on in that meeting, somewhere about 35 minutes into the meeting, that came back up again, that he brought up the fact that they were fed wrong information. And this was back from the previous budget, which the information they were given led to electric utilities getting was it 5% pay raise?
5%.
5% last year. Based on information that was given to them that was not correct. And like I said, later on in that meeting, when it was brought back up, even Alderman Ellis made the comment, is like, yes, we were fed false information. So this is a problem. And this is, it's not just false information, but even getting information, period, has been a problem for them. I know there's a lot of times that I talk with Tim, that I talk with with Gordon Wildridge as well, information that I receive that they're just not aware of. It happens quite often.
It goes back to where I made the statement about the mushrooms. That's just what it is.
It's
I mean, hell, I don't know a better way to explain it.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head with that. And just so you guys know, we're dealing with another thing right this moment. I don't know who's heard about it. I know quite a few people I've talked to have heard about it. There is a new truck at Lexington Utilities. We call it the vacuum truck. What it's designed to do is, I'm going to give it to you in layman's terms. It's a truck with a big vacuum cleaner, and what they can do is they can go up there where utilities are buried, and they can take this vacuum cleaner and vacuum all that dirt up instead of digging and hitting a line. So it's less obtrusive and won't do damage to the utilities. I just got to say something. If we have 811, which I know is being touted right now, everybody's talking about 811, which is where utilities plant flags. If you're going to dig, you call 811 before you dig so you don't hit utilities. Why in the hell do they need a damn truck to vacuum up to avoid hitting utilities if they know where the utilities are?
I'm not sure what it's for, to tell you the honest truth. I saw it today. I went and looked at it today. Nice looking truck. That's all I can tell you. I really don't know. It's for getting up excess water and I guess sucking up whatever. But I'm not fully. Of course, I was told later in the afternoon that it was a 95.5 grant paid for with ARBA money. So I guess it was just something to get, but obviously it was approved, I assume. So I'm not sure how much work it will ever do, but
I'm going to try something. Tim, if you can look, you got your screen up?
no, I'm not getting anything.
Okay. All right, well, let me see here. I'm going to look at this thing. There's a picture of the truck at Lexington Utilities. I know I'm kind of getting the glare off of the phone here. But that, okay, I did some checking into it, and Tim did some checking into it today to find out, because there's always 5,182 rumors going around, and this was no different. There's a ton of rumors going around. I've heard, there was rumors going around. There's a 100% grant, 100% paid for. I've heard truck costs $850. I've heard a truck costs $800,000. I've heard a 90-10 grant. I've heard money was pulled out and used from somewhere. Anyway, I know Alderman Wildridge talked to the department head today, Justin Rhodes, and you talked to him as well, didn't you?
Talked to him this afternoon.
And pretty much how this thing worked was, I think this all fell back during the COVID days, the COVID money.
COVID money, it's ARPA money, yeah.
Yeah, it's ARPA money. And this is on a 95.5 grant. The truck costs $650,000. So our local match would be 5%. 5% of that's $32,500. And
If the truck costs that much, I don't see that truck costing that much.
Well, no, you did some research and you priced them.
What I looked at online, I mean, it may have a bunch of extras on it.
While you're talking, I'll see if I can.
It may have a bunch of extras on it, but I seen from $250,000 to $400,000, but that's all I seen.
Can you? How do you close an app? Close the app out and reopen it. That's how I normally get it. Close Facebook out. Now reopen it. See if you can get it. So anyway, Alderman Rhodes did some checking in there. Tim, I'm not going to call you Alderman Rhodes.
Yeah, call me Tim.
Yeah,
You've known me for a while.
Yeah, I've known you long enough to call you Tim. Tim did some checking in this thing here, and like I said, the prices, it seems mighty high. Like I said, the board had voted this in. I guess it's probably been 2.5, 3 years ago, somewhere in there.
Probably so.
To purchase this truck, and now it's just coming to fruition. And talking with Gordon, what happened was there was some money left over from I guess from a job that may have been contracted out, and that money was used to pay the $32,500. I've got a problem with that, and I'm going to tell you what my problem is. You may not agree with me. You may agree with me. When money is allocated, you know you got a grant coming in, and you know your purchase price is $650. Your grants cover 95% of it. You got $32,500. You take $32,500 when you approve it, and you set it in an account somewhere until that grant money comes in, and then you pull that money out of that account, put it with the grant money, and you pay for the truck. What happened to the $32,500 that was approved 2.5, 3 years ago, whenever the hell it was approved? Where's that money at?
Under a shell.
We're back to the New York Shell game.
Could be.
I don't understand that. Where's the money? Why did you have to pull it off of something else? Now, here's my second biggest problem here is, the truck's ready to purchase. Nothing comes before you guys. Nobody tells you anything.
Heard it through the rumor mill.
So our aldermen who are elected, these are your people that you choose to elect to take care of your money. Is not being kept up. What's going on? That's a serious issue. Candy, that's a good point. Why not save the money instead? Or April, I know you're probably watching and give me hell about this here. April used to love shop at Kohl's, and she'd get these coupons and all this shit.
That gets you back in a week or two.
Yeah, that's what. But she'd always say, I'm saving money, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, you're spending money. Yeah, you may get 50% off coupon, but you're still spending 50%. Why aren't you putting, what do you need? I mean, and I think one day she finally had that moment. It's like, wow, that's right. I'm spending money I don't need to spend for something I don't need. I'm just buying it because it's on sale.
You think you got to go back and spend that cold cash?
That's what it is. Got to spend that cold cash.
Yeah, I've made a special trip back down there to spend that cold cash before. Burn $15 worth of gas, go save $5.
That's right. You get it then.
I get it.
Yeah, all right. We're on the same page there. So anyway, yeah, I mean, Candy, you made a good point there. Why would we spend that money? Is this truck going to be valuable? I mean, and granted, grants, I'm still split on grants. Grant money is tax money. It is your money. It don't come from no damn magic grant tree that sits in the White House or somewhere up in D.C. where they pick grant money off of it and send grant money down. It's your money. Downside is if you don't use it, somebody else will get it. So, I mean, but still, we spent $32,500 on a truck that I can't see where we needed that there. If we're the ones who know where the utilities are, we should never be hitting utilities. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I don't know what the dual purpose of the truck is. I've never heard of a truck like that. I'll just be honest. I've never heard of a truck like that before. It was like nothing I'd ever seen before. The front end of it.
Yeah.
I've never seen one. I don't know what the thing will do.
Yeah,
Maybe it's got more uses than one. I don't know.
I mean, and at this point in time frame, why aren't we looking at surplus equipment? This city has a habit of wanting to buy everything brand spanking new, and we got to have the best, and that's just, I don't know.
Latest and the greatest.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
I know they can get things from the DOD. I know they can get things. They can get different things from federal programs, state programs, but and like I said last time, we used to have somebody who would work that system.
Right.
That armored looking vehicle that used to be around town. They got that free.
Yeah.
Just had to go up there and get it, but he's passed. He was a good man, but he's passed. And I don't guess anybody does that anymore. It's just easier to buy something brand new.
Right. Well, now at this point in time frame, again, we're going to go back to the $32,500. Where did that money come from? It came from a job. Why was there no budget amendment made? You need to do a budget amendment, and the way the budget amendment works is that goes in front of the board, and the board has to approve the budget amendment. That's how we have oversight in how our money is spent. At this point in time frame, I don't know how many, but I'm going to say at least 3 board members that I know of is not being kept abreast of what the hell is happening with our money.
That's very true.
I mean, the other 4 may be. I don't know. I have no clue.
Well, I figure there's 2 or 3 of them that are anyway, but I know there's 3 of us that aren't.
And that is a serious issue. I don't have much faith in the comptrollers to do anything about it, but I mean, you know, and you know, it's one of those things. There, it's kind of like I said in the last meeting, you guys approved $20,000 for the purchase of a bucket truck.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't vote for that. That's right. You didn't vote for that. The board,
I didn't vote for the budget, and I didn't vote to amend the budget.
The majority of the board, which is at least 4, the majority of the board voted for this $20,000 truck. I think you were the only one who voted no, right?
I voted no. I didn't vote for the budget, so I'm not going to vote to add more money to it. So.
And that's where, you know, when we start looking at these things here, my biggest question is, and I still haven't gotten an answer. Okay, we're going to spend $20,000 on a bucket truck. But where the hell did you get the $20,000 from? Where did it come from? I mean, is this going off the $20,000 tree? Somebody just went and picked the bill up there and threw it in there? The money has to come from somewhere. It has to be transferred from one place to another place. That's how a budget amendment works. And it did not happen. There was nothing put in the minutes that I know of. We haven't seen the minutes yet, I'm sorry. There was nothing put in the agenda where the money was coming from. This is a serious issue because we don't know where they're taking money from to put over here. Something has to be brought out. And the board needs to be abreast of every single transaction of money, and it's just not. That's just kind of like the, I don't know if we've ever talked about this here, but we'll go ahead and bring it on out tonight. I don't know, hell, I've heard so many damn varying figures, but I'm going to say it was well over $10 million of money that was in the retirement account that gets moved from one, whoever was the broker that was handling it, Edward Jones, and goes to a new startup company, LPL Financial. Okay, now granted, I think the brokers, you know, the people from Edward Jones went and started up LPL Financial, but still, I mean, you've invested money. Why didn't the board approve a transfer of the employee's retirement account?
Well, the way I understood it, somebody went down there and asked, and they said the committee approved it.
What committee?
Let me see. It was a committee of 3. So that was the mayor and the CFO, whatever you want.
City recorder is what I still call it.
City manager, whatever you want to call him.
On the salary sheet, it still shows city recorder.
And I believe the other one was the vice mayor. That's what was told to this person.
So, and you know, again, now I'm going to say right now, I'm just going to bring it out. I have some ethical concerns about that there, because, like I said, the LPL is a new startup, and the mayor's wife works for LPL. You know, that's there's some ethics involved in that there, in my personal opinion, especially when there was really no need to transfer it from. I mean, it was already put into one account, and it was already with the business already there and established. And we're talking about people's retirement funds. You know, and I don't know if it had any impact on it, but if we go back to what we know about the utility companies, or Lexington Utilities, with the other benefits as being one of our problems with being net negative, you know, yeah, exactly. It's a conflict of interest is what I kind of look at here. It don't make any sense. And of course, all of this stuff here is being done without the consent of the board. Everything financially really needs to be in front of that board for them to vote on. And then that would have been one of those things that the board should have voted on.
Well, when we've had dormant accounts at one bank, you know, where they'd had so much money appropriated for something, and then they had $200 left over, and it become a dormant account. They've always brought that before the board for us to close that account down and move that money over to another account, another bank,
$200? But millions of dollars we don't care about.
and another bank.
And this is where our problem lies with what's going on, is there are people in control of the money that's not letting the people who are supposed to be in control of the money know anything. And that needs to change. I'm going to tell you right now, this is, I'm just going to go and say, this is one of the most important elections I've ever run across. And I know so many people get caught up in the federal elections. You know, I'll tell you what happens up there in D.C., that barely even affects you. I mean, as far as them dealing with taxes and stuff, yeah, there's policy and stuff that makes a difference and hurts us. But the biggest thing that happens to you is right here in your home. You pay the majority of your taxes locally or in the state. So you know that's one of the things that you really need to be paying attention to.
You know, on the podcast you had a song at the very end. It says Revolution.
Revolution calling.
Well, this is basically the beginning of what needs to be a revolution. You got some seats here that's very important that need to be flipped, and then here in 2 years you need to finish it up.
Yeah.
I made the statement one night. It wasn't a popular statement. This whole board needs to be flipped.
Yeah, I remember that. It's a bold statement.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I have to agree with you on that. You know, and I'm, you know, you guys, and this is where, you know, I can tell you guys to pay attention. That's one of the things that you have to do on your own. There's nothing I can do to force you to do that. I mean, that's your decision on things. But in case you weren't paying attention in the meeting, going back to that meeting with the utility rates, the guy who was there, who was the company that the city has spent money hiring to come in here and tell them that they need to raise rates, stated that he's going to be back in a couple of years and that you're going to be looking at another rate increase in a couple of years. Well, let me explain something else to you, just so you know. There was, how much was about, I know there was $500,000 is over budget this year, but how much of that was towards salaries? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Well, we didn't have the true information, did we? We don't really know exactly how much, but there's another 2.5% salary increase across the board for all departments. I mean,
On top of that other 2%.
yeah, on top of the other 2% that they called up from last year in the general fund. You know, I'm going to say this here. Utility rates are going to have to go up to cover these raises, because raises are not a one-time expense. You can't. It's not like going out and buying a $650,000 truck. You pay for it once and that's it. No, you got to pay for that every year. And when you're dealing with raises, it's not just a percentage. You're starting to deal in with. I don't know how much the benefits are. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. An employee who works for the city gets 100% of their insurance paid and 60% of their family insurance paid.
That's right.
That's some damn good insurance benefits. So you know, and again, that adds to the salary. You know, when it's what you have to look at is there's just so much that gets involved here. But this budget that just got passed for this year has set it up where there will be a property tax increase next year. If not, they're going to have to cut. And we have seen already that the majority of this board here will not make any cuts. They want to spend. That's really got to that's got to take and change. You know, it's you know it's coming. You know, I can't say this to you guys any stronger. You have to make a change unless you're fine with it. I mean, if you're fine with paying more property taxes, you're fine with your utility rates going up, man, keep the same people in. You'll get the same results and you'll be perfectly fine. And and when we did the poll over the utility rate increase,
Right.
there was people who supported it. And I think there's 51 people who voted for a utility rate increase. So you know what? Hey guys, keep voting for your people.
And 800 and something maybe didn't like it.
Oh, that's right. So I'm figuring that there's about 800 votes right there off the bat that's going to go against. It's going to want change.
You would hope
Yeah,
so.
yeah, we would hope so. And that's going back in. I noticed that Bobby had talked about that there with low voter turnout. And I know Candy and Donna has chipped in there. It's. Yeah, I went back in and I looked at the voting numbers. There was, it's a low turnout. The number of people voting in comparison to the number of registered voters we have, it's a low turnout. And there's no doubt about that. And today was the last day to register. I don't know if you can still register. If you're not registered to vote, if you have any chance, you'd have to go to govotn.gov, GOVOTETN.gov. But when we're getting here and looking at this with the voters, there was actually the number of voters were actually there was more last year in the last election than there was the one before. So yeah, I wouldn't. It's a low voter turnout, but there's actually an increase in number, so which tells me more people are paying attention.
And usually in a mayor's race, there'll be more.
Yeah,
There'll be
yeah,
more.
yeah. And that's
And
true.
people really need to turn out in this race. You don't need a low voter turnout trying to determine this right here. People need to show up, turn. You need to vote early. Voting early
Yeah.
is where it's at.
Yeah,
When you hear the numbers from the voting early, the boxes, that's it.
yeah, that's it. And to let you know, we are on the 12th. So not this Friday, but next Friday, early voting starts, August 22nd, and then it runs through, I believe, September 5th. It's either the 3rd or the 5th. I think it's the 5th. And then the September 11th is actual election day. Generally, historically, I think historically, early voting determines who's going to win.
Early voting is going to determine it, and you don't. I know that a lot of people that are old school, they like to wait until election day.
Yeah,
Well, you could wake up that day sick,
yeah, that's true.
or you could wake up that day and the car don't start.
That's right.
I mean, or you could wake up that day and there's some other kind of emergency. Your house could be flooded. I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen on that day, and I just advise people to vote early because early voting's where it's at.
Yeah,
September
Dan, you know what? That's you're yeah. I'm a business owner here in the city, but I live out in. I've actually got a Cedar Grove address, but I'm pretty close to Parker's Crossroads. I get it, Dan. Living in Scotts Hill, utility rates affect us, even though we don't have a vote in this election. What happens with the utilities? I mean, we got to pay for it. And what most people don't know is if you actually go back in and look at Lexington utilities, the city, the water, the gas, and the sewer, which actually the sewer really only runs up to Crossroads. But if you look, when you live inside the city, you pay a lot cheaper rate than us who live outside of the city. There is a difference between, I'd have to go back and look, but we pay more for water at our home than we do here in the city. So, that's something, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, Dan. But it's, it is what it is. Moving on to something else I wanted to bring up. Let me get down up in here to my trusty thing. Find my screenshots here. Alrighty. We've gone over the truck, but I got something shared with me, and I was really hoping to be able to show it with you guys tonight, and unfortunately, I can't because of the echo problems. But let me tell you this here. We got a list of the salaries that are current through August 7th. So this will include the raises. And we've kind of broken it down by departments. I do have a couple of questions on where a couple of positions actually fall within that department. within each department. So, I don't have 100% accuracy. Well, I'm going to say it. That's the best way I can say it here. I don't have 100% accuracy in what we've got here. Let me get this page here opened up. But I want to share some information with you. I think that might be of interest to you. All righty, here we go. Okay. Now I'm just going to let you know, some of these things here. I don't know exactly how we're going to name the departments, and there's a couple of departments I'm not sure where people fall under, but I'll go ahead and get this here on out there. Alderman makes $7,200 a year, and there's 7 aldermen. The mayor makes $85,000, so we spend $135,400 for our elected official. All right, I'm going to call this the City Hall. Now, I am grouping in the museum coordinator, which is a part-time position. I believe they fall under the City Hall. Let me see if I can find that in here to verify that. But like I said, it's $21,000 is what that job pays. Oh, shoot, I forgot. I'm going to get down here where it's... Damn, I actually can read it a little bit better now. All right. I ain't going to dig into it. City Hall. Human Resources Director is making $75,000. Do you know who our Human Resources Director is, by any chance?
Yes.
Who is that?
That would be Fran.
Okay. Okay. We have accounting clerks, an accounting clerk 2, an accounting clerk 3, a deputy recorder, and a city recorder. And just so you know, our city recorder, who we have issues with getting numbers board, the plate.
Yeah, that's what he had on plate. Numbers
Yeah,
board.
numbers board. He makes over $100,000 a year, so $100,484. So our city recorder is making $100,000 a year. Now this was after he had a pretty substantial raise with the salary survey, and then the percentage increases. And this was after that fiasco a couple of years ago with the auditor coming in and blasting us for what, I don't know, I've heard 16 million.
I think it was 16.5 million.
Yeah, and making $100,000 a year. Shoot, I'm in the wrong business. So we're paying, the City Hall costs us $370,000 a year in salary. Firefighters. We have a total of 15 people in the fire department. We got 2 part-timers. Now, they're making $17 an hour. What I did is I based it off of a 32-hour week. Estimating around about 28,000. We have 2 part-timers, 6 full-time firefighters. We have a fire lieutenant. We have 2 fire lieutenants. So let's make sure I got this right here. We have 2 part-timers and 6 full-time firefighters. So we got 8 firefighters, we're going to call them. Okay, then we have 2 lieutenants, 1, 2, 3 captains. We have a training officer, a fire inspector, an assistant chief. So we have, I'm going to say this here again, 2 part-timers, 6 full-time firefighters. We have 8 firefighters, and we have 1, 2, 5, 6. Let me make sure. Fire captain, assistant. With the chief, we have 8 workers and 7 supervisory roles, overseeing 8 people. So, from a military perspective, I got 7 officers and I got 8 enlisted. That seems kind of damn heavy to me. I may be wrong. I don't know what you think about that, but I think that's kind of top heavy, don't you?
Oh, just a little.
No.
I think they call that too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
That's the term I was looking for. So in other words, we're going to sit here and we're going to look at this here. And I think my numbers here, my total calculation numbers here. 2, 3, 5, 10. Yeah. Total of 17 in the fire department. My bad. I miscalculated there. This is what kind of kills me. $940,261.78 per year in salaries. Now remember, we're talking salaries here. We're not talking benefits, just salaries. $940,000. If I'm correct, I might stumble here, but I think the countywide, full operations gets $450 in fire tax. So less than half of this, and that operates, geez, I don't know how many stations they got now. I think 17.
I don't know.
Now, granted, yeah, they're volunteers, but I mean,
Right.
and kudos to our fire department out in the county. Those guys, gosh, can't praise them enough. But here we are. We know that they're operating on less than half in what just salaries alone cost. Just salaries. That's crazy. And they got a lot more coverage. Oh man, that just blows my mind to spend close to $1 million in salaries for no bigger of an area that we have. And that's not including operations. And then didn't they want a new truck this year?
That was last year.
Wow. Man, that's a lot of money. All righty, let's hit the next one. I'm going to skip over because this one's going to take a little bit. Building inspector, I think, falls under public works, but I'm not sure. So I just kind of broke that out separately and call it code enforcement for the time being, so we can figure out where it's at. $76,000, $76,273.60. Okay, let's get back in here to the police department. This is going to be our big salary budget. And I wanted to see that there. How much was the total budget? Do you remember?
On this paper here?
No, I'm talking about for the city.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, all right. I've got what I need to show it to you guys here in a little bit. Okay. Let's get in here. Now we have 5 dispatchers. Dispatchers are averaging around about 50, so that's about $250,000 in salaries for the 5 dispatchers. We have a police clerk. I'm not really sure what that position is. There's also a civilian personal supervisor. You got any clue what that's about?
I don't have a clue.
Boy, that's a $70,000 a year job. $69,160. No clue what that is. All righty, let's get into patrolmen. We have a total of 7, 8. We have 18 patrolmen. Salaries range anywhere from $51,972 to $58,531.20. 18 of them. All righty, we have 4 police sergeants that make $64,000 apiece. We have 4 investigators that are at $69,000 apiece. We have 2 police captains that make $78,000, well, almost $79,000, and a police major. 2 police captains. Why do we need? Why do we need two captains and a major? And then an assistant police chief. I mean, why can't your sergeants just report back to the assistant police chief? Okay. Never mind. Sometimes you don't have to say a word.
Yep.
And I didn't bring it up, and I wanted to tie this here together in here. like I said, investigators at 69,000. Two police captains are making 78,748 each. The police major is making 82,659. Assistant police chief at 91,145. Um, and the police chief makes 105,497. Now, something we got to consider in this here. Our police chief serves a dual role, as the police chief is also the fire chief. Now, and this is just so you know, the way the pay is set up is the police chief gets their full pay as the police chief of 105,497, and then it's 82,659 is what the pay is for fire chief, but they do not get that full pay. They only get 50% of the fire chief pay, which is 41,329. So I'm going to come off the top of my head here. We're going to say 105.5. That's about $146,800 per year for that dual role. Our police force cost us $2,427,749 a year. So about $2.5 million is what we pay in salaries just for the police department alone. And then let's get down to the last department. Now, and remember, we're dealing with general fund employees here. We're not talking about the utilities department. We haven't gotten to that point yet. We're working a little bit at a time. Okay, let's start here. We've got a garage manager, which makes $71,000 a year. We've got two mechanics that make $58,000 apiece. Now then we got, this is with the parks. We've got seasonal lifeguards. They make $17.35 an hour. I estimate it somewhere around about $7,000, $7,200 is what I got. And that's based on, again, 32 hours, and I'm looking at 13 weeks. Based on the fact that I believe these are probably part-time positions.
Part-time.
So I wouldn't think that they were putting in a lot of hours there. No. We got a seasonal pool supervisors at $18.83 an hour. I'm estimating $7,800. And there's 5 lifeguards, and then there's the pool manager. Okay, we have a seasonal pool supervisor and then a pool manager. Why in the hell do you need a pool manager and a pool seasonal supervisor? Why can't the pool manager just run it year-round? I'm assuming is what they do anyway, and not need a seasonal pool supervisor. I mean, it's not a lot of money. We're only talking $7,800, but $7,800. Shoot. I'm going to tell you right now, boy, that could, it all adds up. So, yeah, those are I calculate out the pool manager making around about $8,300 if that's a part-time position. I don't know if it's full-time. I don't know if I would think the seasonal is a full-time. If it's true about the pool manager, now we're talking $43,000. I can't remember the math right off the top of my head. All right, here's one I love. Park/cemetery grounds labor. We have one laborer making $39,769. Then we have 2 making $43,160. So we have 3 parks, cemetery, grounds laborer. 3. There's your general laborers there. Then we have 2 park, cemetery, grounds leaders. So you got 2 people overseeing 3 people. And their salaries are quite a bit of bump. We go to $48,339 for one and $58,457. So there's $100,000 in salaries right there. Do we need both? I don't see why you would need both. That just doesn't make any sense to me. And then we still have a parks foreman. So, I mean, why do we need leaders if we got a foreman?
He's over the leaders.
He's over the leaders. So get rid of the leaders and hire a couple of laborers, and we can save some money right there. And the parks foreman makes $61,193. Then we have a property attendant. Not sure what that job entails. That makes $39,145. An administration clerk that makes $46,820. We have general laborers. We got 3 of those at $49,171. 3 maintenance operators at $54,662. 2 facility maintenance techs at 54,662. Here's another foreman job at 61,193. Oh yeah, we're gonna save the best to last. Alrighty. Some of those jobs now I have no clue what they're about, and I'd have to find out, to give some truth to that there. But assistant public works director makes 84,240 a year, and the public works director makes 95,888 a year. So we're gonna say $180,000 in 2 salaries. Now, I'm going to say this here. The previous public works director, which is your current county mayor, Robert McCready, what was he making? About 65 a year?
He made less than either one. He told me that out of his own mouth. He made less than either one, and he didn't have
an assistant. He made less money. And I'm going to tell you right now, I normally don't praise our county mayor that often, but I will say this here. I'm sure he had his flaws there. We had more services provided to us. Our rates were a hell of a lot cheaper. And,
I'll say this about him when he was public works. He did an outstanding job. I can't.
He never needed an assistant.
I could call him up, and he would get back to me at the end of the day or the next day, and most of the time, the job was accomplished. He was great.
Yeah, and again, I'll throw an example of something that I actually saw. The light down there by Main Street and Church Street, over there by Wendy's and it's the one by Wendy's and Sonic over there.
Yeah, Maine and.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what was going on. We had something wrong with the light. I think a truck had hit it or something, and messed up the light. And he's out there at that box that sits on the pole, I think over there by the tobacco shack, and he's manually working the lights. Kudos. I mean, I figured by now if something like that there would happen, they'd probably shut down the street and block everything off and reroute everybody around, and then eventually get out there and fix it. And this is another thing I kind of I can see the use of a bucket truck to fix those street lights. I get that. I can see them coming around here hanging up the holiday decorations. I can see that. But damn, they already got a bucket truck. Why didn't he spend $20,000 on another one? But I'm backtracking. Alrighty, people. Let me tell you this here. Now, I got a copy of the budget. And this is what I want to tell you. Our public works cost us right at $1.3 million. Okay. Now this here is all general funds. Now, in case you don't understand, when you're looking at it, we have different things. We have holy sheesh. What we have to look at is we have different funds that we pay. And I'm just going to give you a couple, and it'll be easy ones for you to understand. Lexington Utilities, which is our water, sewer, gas, that's one fund. That's an enterprise account, because and the reason it's an enterprise account or an enterprise fund is it generates its own revenue. It makes money off the rates. So LES, same way. LexNet will be the same way. Part of solid waste. Oh. Okay, the pool manager is the public works director. Wouldn't that be a direct line? Isn't that in violation of the nepotism policy? I would think that the supervisor is answering directly back to.
What nepotism policy?
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. The joke that we had, I think, was just direct line, but isn't that a direct line that if you're supervisor of one particular thing, then your next direct line is going to come? Well, no, you got the assistant. Yeah. Yeah. Let me give you a total here. Salaries for the general fund. Now that we understand, LES is a fund, Lexington Utilities is a fund, LexNet is a fund. The solid waste that we have, they're where you're paying your trash every month and your water bill, that's a fund, and they fund their employees separately. So just the general fund, and this is funded through your property taxes, for the most part, not all of it, but for the most part. This is what you'll know is when these pay raises go up. That's where our property taxes go up. We've got to pay for it. That's where you get it from. It's from the property tax. Grand total in the general fund, it costs us $5,227,359.58. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to round it down. $5.2 million we pay in salaries. $5.2 million just in salaries. Now let's come up in there. I have got the budget. This is what is anticipated in the budget. Our revenues are going to be $10,947,000. Now you know what? I'm going to say that I'm going to round that up to $11 million easy. I'll give them a little slack there, So that means $5.8 million is not going towards salaries. Now we haven't gotten into any benefits or anything there.
Right.
Almost half of the money, your revenue coming into the city for the general fund is paid in salaries. Half. This before we get buying all these new vehicles and 650. Well, that's not in the general fund, but that's what's budgeted here. Now the expenditures, since we are in fiscal year proposed, now again, we're taking in $10,947,307, and our expenditures are $11,149,085. So we come off with we're short $295. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy. Half of our revenue goes to salaries. And you know what'll happen next year? If this board stays the same?
Oh yeah, I know exactly what'll happen.
What'll happen?
There'll be more raises to pass out. And they got to have some way to fund it.
That's right. Because if not, we have not seen any cuts.
Yeah.
Not seen any cuts.
I tried to get a hiring freeze through, but
Yeah, that didn't work.
didn't work. That come out to be 4-3 actually.
Do you remember last year how many employees we had in the city?
They said 200, and I have no idea how many it is this year.
Well, I can tell you right now, 98 alone is what we show. And hold on a second here. Whoa.
This was
I
what I'm talking about. Everything.
Here. We're at an even 100 in the general fund. 100.
Yeah, I'm talking to everything.
Yeah.
Is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So, this, if we're going to look at this here, if we took the average salary in the city is $52,273. But wow. I know Clay Crook brought up about our debt. You want to know where we've got debt so bad? It's because we're paying so much money in salaries. We don't have any money to fix anything, and we're buying all this new vehicles for people to ride around in. We have to borrow money to do any repair work to anything that we got. I mean, it's
Good luck, Candy. You better have 4 votes.
You know what? Yeah. If you get elected,
I tried that.
Yeah. If you get elected, you got to have the votes. This is. I really don't know what to say. I mean, I mean, that's crazy. And I'd hate to ask how much the damn benefits are. That's going to push us way over half the mark.
Oh, yeah.
I You know, when I looked at this today, it didn't hit me the same as it's hitting me right now. You know, and maybe because we're sitting here talking about it and saying it out loud, and um, and looking at the budget. I mean, it kind of puts it in perspective.
On the hiring freeze, the mayor sent out a group text to all the aldermen. Is there anything you'd like to put on the budget, the agenda? Did that like Tuesday of the week, whatever, put it on the agenda. Need to have it in by like Thursday so they could get it printed up and to us by Friday so we can vote on Monday. Everybody says, no. I said, I do. So I sent him a text. I said, I want to put a hiring freeze on there. He said, well, I was going to bring that up in my speech, and it would have been July of 24, I think. I was going to bring that up in my speech anyway, that we have a hiring freeze. Now, I can either bring it up in my speech, or you can put it on the agenda. I said, I don't care as long as it gets on there. So we did. He said effective July 1st, we will have a hiring freeze. That was the words said. Well, then along comes the 74 cents, and it passed the first time, 4-3. But when it didn't make it, then one of the department heads said they had a CSR that had left, and they needed to replace them. But they also needed an accounts receivable and accounts payable. So they lost 1.3. And the mayor replied back, well, since the budget didn't pass, then the hiring freeze didn't stick. I didn't know it was all associated in there together. And you just got a water rate increase, so you can hire anybody you want to.
So the mayor approved the hiring.
He approved that hiring, yes.
I didn't think the mayor had the authority. You know, I was going to try to come in here and find some stuff, and I'm going to have to go back through my budget from last year and do some comparison. Because last year really there was a lot to look into. And I don't know if the salaries here break down this does include the enterprise accounts. I just don't know if the budget breaks it down. I just got a copy of that this afternoon. You know, that's I don't know. Sherry's asking, do department heads' benefits end at retirement?
Well, they keep getting their built-up time they got, which can amount to a great deal. You know, their built-up days, sick days,
what about their
days,
insurances
vacation
and stuff?
days. The electric system, I think you can leave at 60 and get your insurance paid at 65.
Okay.
But no, I don't think anybody else gets that. But that's been for a long time.
All right. I don't know if you heard that answer there, Sherry. Yeah, I know. I mean, heck, if I remember correctly, when Roger Lofton retired as police chief, he went over to Public Works to run it in lieu of when Robbie stepped down as mayor while they were filling that role. So he was getting this, and then I'm assuming at this point in time frame, from the time he stepped down, he had a lot of time built up. I'm sure he's probably still getting paid right now. Would that
He
be
could
reasonable?
be. I'm sure he had a lot of time built up.
Yeah, that's and you know, and you know, there's. I mean, if we didn't, I had to take. If I didn't burn leave, I'd lose leave. There's some things. There's ways around that there to keep from all that time building up. And what it means is this here, and see, and I don't get that too when you're a department head. I mean, you're a salaried employee. OT don't count for you. That's just part of the damn job to me. But whether it is or not, I don't know. But there should be a simple way to fix that there. It's comp time. And if you don't take the comp time, then you lose it.
Where I used to work for about 14 years, at one time you could build up to, I think it was up to 2 weeks. 2 weeks is only though.
Yeah.
But you could build up to 2 weeks. And if you didn't use it, then you would get paid a check for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks.
Well, I come in on the end of that stick because I was like the next generation, I guess. So, man, I'm not using mine. I didn't use mine. I wanted that check. Come in handy at Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's
I
very
wanted
true.
it. Well, I didn't use it. So I didn't get paid. So I went to the main boss, general manager, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. What's up with that? How come everybody else got this 2 weeks pay and I didn't get it? And he said, well, that ended about the year before you started.
Oh.
I said, so you're telling me?
You lost
You're
the
telling
2
me
weeks.
I just lost all this time when I worked when I might have been sick or didn't feel good? Yep. I said, so you're telling me that what I need to do when I'm sick or don't feel good is call in then, right? And he said, yep. So you know what I started doing then on?
Going in. Piss poor leadership. It happens often. Well, I think we've covered a lot, and we wanted to keep this one short, and we've already hit an hour. So we're going to take and we're going to shut this down for tonight. We will be. I'm sure you'll probably come back on at some point.
I probably will.
It's we've got a pretty heavy schedule through early voting. Thursday night we will be at Gordon Wildridge, who's running for mayor. He's got a campaign headquarters. It's the old Jitters building across from Los Portales. We're actually going there to live stream with Gordon, and we're gonna start off with that there next week. Let me double check and make sure I ain't giving y'all no bad information. The docs, where is it at here? Here we go, election. Alrighty. Thursday we got Gordon. We're going to be at his campaign headquarters at 7 o'clock. Next Monday, we got Jack Johnson coming on at 7 o'clock. Next Tuesday, Donna Ross is coming back on again for 7 o'clock. And then next Thursday, the 21st, is Jimmy White. And that there will be the end of what we're doing here, because everybody around here tells me is once early voting starts, ain't no need to campaign no more, because everybody's undecided who they're voting for at that point. So we're not carrying any whatchamacallits at that point. Yeah, there's 4 candidates that never responded about coming on the show. Andy Anderson for mayor. We had chatted a little bit, but he never made any commitment to it. Fred Ellis, he had initially replied the very first time. I haven't heard anything else since. No reply to my text. Jeff Griggs and Ernest Ray Thomas Jr. I called a friend, a mutual friend, and I didn't get anything back there. Then I sent a couple messages on the Facebook Messenger, and that was it. So never got any response to those there. So you got something you want to say? I can see it.
Yeah, I've got something I want
Say
to say. It's over these 2 podcasts that me and you've had.
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. I know we stepped on some toes.
Yeah, we have.
And here's what I've got to say about that. A friend reminded me about this the other day. When I was about 19 years old, my cousin, who everybody knows and loves, he was always the good one. And he is a good guy. Everybody knows him as Brother Terry. Everybody loves Brother Terry. Well, he was actually like my brother. He is like my brother, more so than he is my cousin. He invited me to go to this little country church one time. It's Old Bethel out Broadway Road. And that Old Bethel. I don't know if it was a revival. I can't remember. It's been 19. I was 19, so it's been 15 years ago. But anyway, put that math together. That's some voodoo math. But I don't know if it was a revival or or a pew packing or what it was. So this gets back to the toes that's got stepped on here in this last that me and you've done. We stepped on some toes, but this preacher laid it down. I'm talking about he was all over everybody. And at the end, he finished up by saying, "People, I don't mean to step on your toes, but you ought not have your feet out in the aisle."
You know what? That's the truth.
That's a good analogy right there.
I'm going to say something here. I'm going to lightly touch on this here. I wasn't going to bring it up tonight, but we damn sure stepped on some toes last podcast, to the point that Tim and I both we have an attorney. I mean, it's they don't like what you're doing because you're an alderman and you're sitting there in the seat and you see it, and they ain't never like what I do. I mean, heck. So it's we're dealing with that there. We're gonna deal with this a little bit more with our attorney and find out more information. We'll share this with you just to say that at this point, from what I've gathered, an investigation has been opened, and it involves the district attorney. So we'll see how that goes. So, like I said, we'll keep you guys abreast of what's happening with that there. We're not going to go into a lot of detail based on the recommendation of our attorney. And I like to take and talk about a lot of stuff, but this one here, I'm going to follow the legal advice. But yeah, like I said, as we can, we'll definitely update you guys on that. Any other toes you want to step on?
There's a lot of them. There's a lot of. I'm just telling people, you better be looking. You look at what's going on. It doesn't ever who the mayor is. You better have 4 good, solid, conservative votes right there, or it doesn't, because the mayor's not going to be able to do anything. Right now, these 4 control that board. Upon his recommendation, they'll do whatever. And you're going to have to flip this board upside down. It's going to have to be flipped. And it begins, that revolution that the music used to play begins this time. And in 2 years, it needs to be finished off.
That's kind of the way I see it.
Or else people in the city are going to be in some real trouble.
Yeah. It's and when people talk about growth and stuff. I'm just going to tell you a quick story before we end this here. We both have mutual friends that's moved here from California. And I always hear the thing about, California. You know, I'll tell you the reason they moved here? Because they were trying to get away from the very thing that they're dealing with right now here. That's what they were dealing with in California. And they're seeing the exact same thing happening here in Lexington. And that's a sad thing.
One of them told me it was about time to pack up and move again.
That's a pretty profound statement to have somebody tell you that the very thing that escaped is happening here. And we see it. And the only way, I'm going to tell you right now, there is no white knight that's going to ride in here and save anybody. It ain't going to happen. I've pointed out stuff that numerous time again to the oversight people to no avail. The response that I get is, fix it at the voting polls. So guys, again, it's, I can't say it plain enough. This election is going to determine just how bad things can get. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. If there's not change, and I can't. I've made a promise that I will never tell anybody how to vote. I don't believe that's. I think that compromises my integrity by doing so, because I try to remain unbiased. But I see it. I mean, I see it, and anyway. All righty, we're going to wrap this thing here up. Anything else you want in closing?
I guess that's it.
All right, y'all have a wonderful night, and we will see you Thursday at 7 o'clock from Gordon Wildridge Campaign Headquarters. Y'all have a good one.